Amelia, what's going on? How can I help?
Hey, Dr. John, how are you?
I'm doing so good. How about you?
I'm good. Okay.
Hey, wait, hold on. You just said
sure.
you gave me a long good, which usually is a nice way of saying not very good at all.
I mean, I'm struggling, if I'm being honest.
There we go. All right. We tell the truth on this show, Amelia.
Sure.
All right. So, hey, what's up?
So I am a wife, a mom of two, a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old, and I am a neonatal nurse.
Honey, Amelia, that's a lot. I don't even know why you're calling. That's a lot.
So I absolutely love my job. I feel like it is where I am meant to be. It's my passion. It's my work. And it's, but also so as a mom, right? So I guess that's where my struggle is I feel like I'm where I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to be doing, but I don't want my kids and my family to suffer, based on the choices of my career. And I guess I'm just struggling with finding a balance between it all. And that struggle between, I'm doing what I know I'm supposed to be doing. Like it feels right. I'm happy. But then, my kids aren't in bed at, 8:30 and there's not really a set schedule, I guess that's the best way to put it.
Right.
And so, I guess to complicate things, my 6-year-old has recently been diagnosed with ADHD. And so just making sure that he has that balance and that he feels that, mom and dad are here for them no matter what.
How's your marriage?
Our marriage is great.
What does that mean? What does great mean? So I have full support from my husband. He wants to, make sure that I'm happy and that, he's fully supportive of me working and doing what we've both worked so hard for to get to this point. I mean, we have good communication. We are working on that, but I do feel like that has improved. We are seeing a actual counselor. Since my son was diagnosed, we wanted to be on the same page as far as how we handle different situations and scenarios and things like that. So I feel like the openness is there. He has long work hours as well. He's an emergency veterinarian, so he also has long hours and hard days. But I do feel like that communication's there. I feel like I can trust him. He is my best friend. Like, he's the one that I want to do life with. So
I don't know. Sure.
So there's a lot here. Give me a specific question. How can I help you?
I guess just how do I take the negativity from coming in from the outside of saying that, I guess from family members that mean well, saying that, my children are suffering because they're the hours that my husband and I work, having the, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. So let me do this. I'm going to start walking this back, and you feel free to cut me off and jump in at any time. Okay?
Sure.
And my promise to you, as a fellow Houstonian, even if you were from Mars, I would be honest with you, is I'm going to tell you the truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God, okay?
Yes, sir.
Your life sounds chaotic. Is that a good word?
That's pretty accurate.
Okay. It's not a bad thing. It just sounds like an is, right? And it would be chaotic because you have a 6 and a 2-year-old just on
just because of that, right? 6 and 2-year-olds are a lot. They're all over the place. And they're fun and beautiful and wonderful. And oh my gosh, if I can't sleep a whole night, right? So they're all of it, right? All at the same time.
Right.
That's number one. Number two, I've got 2 people deeply committed to traumatic professions who love one another and are trying to make that work. Okay?
Yes, sir.
And when you are don't say sir. So y'all both deal in trauma every day. People come to you in their worst moments and say, please help me. Please save my baby. Please save my, this animal, this pet of mine this is all I've got, right? And that is a lot every day. And I know y'all know that, but sometimes it helps for somebody else to say it out loud. Y'all deal in other people's hurt, okay?
Right.
And what people come to you and say, everything in my world is dark, please turn a light on somehow, some way, right? And then you got 2 little kids, you got chaos no matter what. You got 2 people who deal in trauma every day, right? And then you are trying to make all this work all at the same time. And then somebody comes and drops something in your lap that says, hey, your 6-year-old has a chaos/connection learning disorder, which is ADHD, which is another way to frame it. And I get a lot of grief for it, and I don't care. I'm a card-carrying member. I'm off the chart, by the way. Like, I on the scoring, it's comical. Okay. So the hard reality is, if we look at ADHD as a connection issue, as a response to chaos, a learned response to chaos, and also the nonsensical educational environment some of our kids are forced into, right? Then you start to reverse engineer your life, and it gets hard. And then people start throwing their little comment grenades at you, right? They start telling you things that cut you right into your soul as though they're helping, and they're not, because these are all things that you know, right? And so here's what I'm going to super strong recommend you do, okay? What I'm telling you right now is you are on a recipe for complete and total burnout. And I think probably both of you are, you and your husband. And the problem with the burnout is you don't know where it's going to land, whether it's going to be relational burnout, whether it's going to be professional burnout, whether it's going to be burnout on those kids. Okay? And I'm telling you that twofold. Number one, I have lived the life you are talking about right now. Okay? The only difference is my wife didn't work in trauma. She was a professor. She didn't work I didn't have two of us working in trauma. There was just one of us. Okay? So here's my recommendation. Are you ready? This is the prescription from a non-medical guy. You ready?
Yeah.
I want you to start in reverse order. None of this works. None of it. Unless you and your husband prioritize your marriage number one above your kids, above your work, above all of it. Okay?
Okay.
And so that starts with y'all two getting together and being real vulnerable with each other, being really direct, letting him know what you need from him, what you need just period, letting him tell you what he needs. What are things that y'all can do for one another to help you guys be whole? Because y'all have to be whole because you're dealing with so much secondary traumatic stress. And you can only rappel off and hold another mom whose baby's in NICU. You can only rappel off and hold another baby and another baby and another baby when you are fully anchored in. Okay? So number one, you've got to give him permission to hold you accountable to whatever y'all agree to. You're going to have to let him speak into your life, and he's going to have to let you speak into his life. And what does that look like? That means y'all going to have to be honest about what you eat, how much y'all move and exercise. Are y'all getting sleep? Are y'all taking care of yourselves? Are you putting your oxygen mask on first to beat an old metaphor to death, right? Mm-hmm. Only then can you then focus on those 2 beautiful angels that you brought into the world. And they come next, right? What are the boundaries with kids? What are the ways that mom and dad are dealing with our secondary traumatic stress? I'm so glad to hear y'all say, hey, we just got some new information. Our kids got ADHD, so we're going to go to counseling to make sure we have the tools to connect with one another. We're on the same page. That's so awesome, Amelia, that was your default. Good for you. But what is the way we're going to be connected with these kids? And then and only then does our professional life come after that. Okay? And you said something that I wrote down here. We worked so hard to get somewhere. And you got there, and I want to tell you, I've done research. I've met with, I can't even tell you how many doctors, lawyers, fancy pants, preachers, college presidents, senior staff at universities across the country. And I can't tell you how many times I've heard the line, I worked so hard to get here. And then they have to ask themselves, was it worth it? I worked so hard to get here, but I just want to play with my kid. I worked so hard to get here, but I never see my wife. I worked so hard to get here, and fill in the blank. And you can every time you can, I say the following words, you don't have to keep doing this job. And you can almost see their shoulders just drop as they never even considered that. Or they will say really quickly, no, I want to do this job. And I love it when they say that too, because now I know what's important, right? Your marriage, your kids, your job, but we're going to do it in that order. And we're going to not give on these priorities that we say we're not going to give on. And then we know we're in it, right? And that way, when you come home exhausted, you can text your husband at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and say, I'm having a day and my ranking score is a 7. And he knows, all right, I got dinner tonight. I got kids' bath tonight and I'm all in. Or you can text him and say, today was a 2. And he's like, sweet, she's got dinner. I've got one kid. She's got the other. We're going to divide and conquer. Whatever system y'all come up with. But it's got to go in that order. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Is that frustrating to hear? Or is it a relief to hear?
I think it's what I've been telling myself.
Okay.
I guess, and I think that's the struggle, is I know where the priority should be. Mm-hmm. I guess it's a struggle of finding what's the right answer, because,
here's the right answer.
Yes, the hours.
The right answer is your relationship and your kids and your work, in that order. Because one doesn't work without the other. If you were single, yeah, dude, you were all in on this NICU gig, and I would still be telling you got to prioritize your psychological and spiritual and mental health above the NICU job, because you're no good to those kids if you're fried and burnt out. You're no good to those mothers and fathers who are so desperately clinging on to every last shred of hope. You're no good to them if you're not whole at home, right? And if you were a single mom, I would tell you, your health comes first, your brain and your heart come first, those kids come second, work comes third. And you tethered yourself to a guy that sounds like he's a great guy. He's a good man. He deals with trauma for a living. He helps other people. He loves you. He loves your kids. And so he comes first. And then when you're tethered in there, then you can anchor off and be the mom and dad that y'all are going to be, that you've got that picture in your head what that's going to look like. And then and only then can you be the trauma nurse that those families desperately need you to be. What I want to give you permission is just to drop your shoulders and go, we got a lot going on. And it may be that for this season, he doesn't work overnight shifts because you got a 6 and a 2-year-old. And maybe for the next 3 years, he is just doing the day shift. And he goes off call, and it's going to hammer y'all financially, and it sucks. But those kids are worth the time. Or maybe for the next 2 years, you don't work night shifts, you work day shifts, and you're not doing weekend plugs. Whatever that looks like, but give yourselves permission to go in that order. Most couples try to reverse engineer it. How many hours can we shave off and not have to do this? I want y'all to start the other way. I love you so much. And here's what you bring to me. You don't even know what you bring to me, how much I love. And here's what I desperately need from you. What can I help with you so that you and I can work together? And then, man, what do we want our kids' worlds to look like? What kind of picture do we want what do we want home to look like? And you said it best, man, kids are routine sponges. Bedtime's every night. at this time. Even if it cuts into mom and dad time, they're going to get their bedtime here. They're going to eat here. We're going to all get up together, or I'm going to go do my morning routine. Dad's going to do wake ups on this week, and we're going to flip it. Whatever that looks like, but you're going to map that out, and then you'll figure out the work stuff later. And if you're an awesome NICU nurse, I guarantee you are, and your work doesn't accommodate that, there's 100 different places in Houston, Texas where you can go be a NICU nurse. There just is. And if your husband's practice is, no, bro, you got to do that, there's 1,000 places in Houston where he can go be an awesome vet with that kind of expertise and that kind of experience and the kind of compassionate heart that he has. So you're not locked in. You just got to go in the right order. I am so proud of you as a couple. I'm proud of you, Amelia, for thinking through this. I'm so grateful that there are incredible, smart, brilliant, compassionate women like you out there taking care of these babies, taking care of these families who have a baby, who are struggling. Every moment of their life has been rocked upside down. I'm so glad you're doing this. And I'm so glad you're a mom who loves her kids and that you're a wife who loves her husband. And also don't forget, you got a 6 and a 2-year-old. Everything feels like the end of time when you have a 6 and a 2-year-old. There should be a YouTube series just for parents of 6 and 2-year-olds called It Gets Better. I know there's a couple of different series. It Gets Better. I'm telling you, you got a 6 and a 2-year-old, it gets better. It does.